Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Flip It TV. Tonight I'm here in the Creative Spaces, which is in the All Out Design on Sarsfield Street, with one of Limerick's top graffiti artists and tattoo artists, which would be Dr. J, who also goes by the name of Jason Stevens. How are you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
So what's going on here today?
Just a bit of a display, first time in our country.
A little bit of a display, is it?
A little bit of a display, yeah. Just a few sketches up on the wall, you know.
And what are you trying to highlight? That like tattooing isn't just about ink on your skin, there's a little bit more to it. Tell me about that.
We want to see tattoo recognised a little bit more as a legitimate art form in this country, basically. Stuff like this happens in America, it happens in the UK, and it's the first time it's happened in Ireland. That's all, really.
Yeah. And like, tell me through tell me about like the tattoos that you're wearing. What do they mean? Are they symbolic of anything?
No meanings whatsoever, except maybe the temporary one on the wrist.
That's temporary, is it?
It is, yeah. Well,
there's no such thing really.
We all are.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah. And so anyway, tell me about how did you start tattooing? Like, where did it come from? Was it art based? Or?
I was always interested in it since I was a small child, but I've been painting and drawing since I was about 3 years old. That's 35 years at this stage. And about 10 years ago I decided it was what I wanted to do. I like drawing on people and I like working closely with people, you know. There's an awful lot of job satisfaction in it. You get to see what people think of the work as soon as it's done. It's really nice, you know yourself, you've been tattooed by me many times.
This is true. This is some of Jay's work on my own skin, which I'll be wearing for the rest of my life, but I'm happy to do that.
Cool.
That's good. And like, what has the reaction been like from people coming in today?
It's been fantastic today, especially the people that you wouldn't expect to be into tattoos and stuff, or have never been in a tattoo studio in their life, and they're pretty blown away by all the stuff we have on the walls, and just watching Nick getting tattooed earlier.
What was going on there?
We were tattooing a half-body dragon based on the one on the wall over here on Nick's torso.
And how did it turn out, and what was the public's reaction to actually seeing somebody being tattooed?
People were a little bit squeamish at times.
Were they?
Yeah, a few squeaks and a few people just didn't want to look at all, but especially some of the little kids and the older people that came in, they were very interested in what was going on. Yeah.
It's good to see something like that. It's probably something they wouldn't be used to seeing on a regular basis, so it's great that
get to see it at all.
Yeah, people have been able to come into this great space and just see something that they're not usually used to seeing. Like, that's
Hopefully
great.
It's a start of many more, you know.
Yeah. So when did you come to Limerick?
About 10 years ago, 12 years ago maybe.
And was that where your tattooing career started?
No, it started at home out in the backwoods where I was living at the time, but when I came to Limerick, that's when I started working in studios. First day in Limerick properly, I walked into a studio and I got a job on the spot, you know.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. And then you opened up your own studio a few years back, didn't you?
I've opened up many studios, but they've all closed down. It's too much hard work for me at this stage, you know. I want to concentrate more on painting and drawing and sculpture and things like that, and maybe do tattooing, just to keep things ticking over, you know.
Yeah. There was two other artists' work who's been displayed here today.
That's Sparky and Rob Deep, yeah. Their work's fantastic, the pair of them. Sparky's going to be tattooing me all day tomorrow here. He's going to be doing some hand-poke Polynesian style tattoo.
What does that actually entail for people who mightn't know what that means?
It just means we don't use any machines. The needle's inserted into the skin by hand each and every time, you know. It's a long process, but it's actually less painful than being tattooed by a machine. Feels like almost like plucking hairs out of the skin.
Okay. Yeah. So you've had this done before, haven't you?
Yeah, I've had it done on my foot and stuff, but we're going to carry on up my leg tomorrow. So
for the whole day?
For the whole day.
Wow,
maybe 6 or 8 hours. Yeah.
That's some feat.
It's nothing compared to what Nick did today, you know. I was using big needle group on him. I didn't use an outlining needle, just a wide shaded needle to put everything on, and he sat like a rocker.
For the whole day?
There's not many people you could do that with, you know. We've been here since 12:30 this morning, and we did 5 hours of drawing on and 3 hours of tattooing, and it was just perfect.
What would be your style of tattooing?
All of them, I suppose, if you look at the wall behind you, you know.
But you don't really do the usual route, which is to transfer a stencil onto someone?
Traces and transfers, no, it's not necessary, you know. When you draw something onto the skin, if you're confident in what you're drawing, if you draw it onto the skin, it fits better, you know that yourself, you know.
So
it's hard to take some off a trace or a transfer and put it on the skin and make it look flow and natural, you know.
So everything you do then is freehand?
Yeah, pretty much now.
And in order for like that process, like you have to be a pretty established artist to do something like that, because take me through the actual tattooing process.
The tattooing process, or
with the customer? If a customer came in with their own design, would you sit down and talk to them?
Usually, yeah, we'd redraw it with them on the spot, you know. We'd spend a couple of hours with them just redrawing the design and making sure they were suitable for tattooing, you know, because some people have a very high level of drawing, but it's not really suitable for transferring onto skin.
Okay. And like for people who've never had tattoos before, is there anything you would recommend to them?
Yeah, don't get tattooed.
Don't get tattooed
Don't
at all.
get tattooed unless you're really, really sure about what you want, you know.
Yeah.
Unless something jumps out at you and you think I'd like to wear that on this part of my body for the rest of my life. People go out with the idea I want a tattoo, and then they start going through the process of choosing a tattoo, and it's really an outdated way of doing things for the most part.
Yeah. Can you remember the first ever tattoo you did?
First ever tattoo I did? Yeah, I do indeed.
What do you think of it, and
on
what was it like?
I actually reworked it last year, and it's not too bad. It was a freehand cover-up of some old Indian ink tattoos on his arm, and it was a big dragon up on here. And we did some more on it earlier on last year, I think it was, and it's looking good.
Yeah.
I'm still tattooing him to this day, so can't have been that bad, you know.
So do you think you'll be tattooing till you die?
No.
No.
I won't be able for it.
What are your plans for when you stop tattooing?
I don't know. Maybe teaching.
Yeah.
I'd like to teach people how to draw and paint and stuff, yeah. And hopefully I'll still be exhibiting and work long after I finish tattooing. But most tattooists retire out of the industry due to carpal tunnel syndrome and wrist problems or back problems or eye problems, you know. After a certain point it's a very physically demanding job. I laboured on building sites for years, and I go home more tired after tattooing than I ever did after using a shovel and a wheelbarrow all day, you know.
Do you find you have to be concentrating at 100% the whole time when you're...
Not 100% nowadays. It depends what I'm doing. It depends on the fineness of the job, you know. Something like what I was doing on Nick today, it's fairly open and fairly flowy, so you can have a conversation with people as you go along, you know, and still concentrate on what you're doing with like half your head almost.
Yeah. And do you actually have a favourite piece of art that you've tattooed on someone?
Yeah, Nick's one today.
Nick's one today?
One,
yeah.
Yeah.
If I came back to you in a year, do you think you'd have changed your mind?
Yeah,
Something
possibly.
might have come
Maybe
along.
if you come back to me in 2 weeks after I've done another sitting on yours will be my
2
favourite
weeks.
at the time, you know. Yeah.
Any tips for people who already have tattoos on aftercare and anything like that you'd like to tell people?
Just sunblock them if you want to keep them fresh, you know, after they've healed up. Only UV light can affect them apart from the changing shape of your body as you get older, but that doesn't really affect the tattoo too much, you know. I have some on my own body that are about 10 years old and they've not changed.
One bit.
Not changed at all, no.
So a good tattoo then should hold.
A good tattoo will stay, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's about all we have time for. Any
Thank
last
you very
words?
much. No, just cheers, and thanks to Dave and the All Out Design Group for having me.
Yeah, great space. Keep it up.
Cheers, lad.
Thanks very much. Thanks for watching, guys. Talk to you later.
Bye now.